Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be doing a little bit of a review, a little bit of an unboxing of these Day 6 HD arrows. Just got these in the other day. Really excited about these arrows. This is actually my third time ordering arrows from Day 6. This is my third set. I've always ordered them in 6 shaft packs, already fleshed and already with arrow wraps. For those of you who don't know, Day 6 is a small company based in the US that makes carbon shaft arrows. They don't really make very many products. They make the arrow shafts, they have a broadhead that they have, and their centric insert-outsert system. They don't have a wide range of products, but the products that they do have are very good. I've only used their arrows. I haven't used their broadheads, but from what I read online and what I've watched, their broadheads are really, really good. It's your typical 2-blade broadhead, really good for penetration if you're shooting big game and you need the extra penetration. I hear it's a really good broadhead. So we talk a little bit more about these arrows now. So the arrows I had before, I had the 300 spine arrows, which on my bow, my Hoytorex, I think it's just a little too stiff for that bow. I had a little bit of trouble trying to get it to tune to shoot fixed blade broadheads. And I think that's because the arrows were too stiff. The spine was too stiff. I always had a bare shaft or a broadhead arrow hit to the left of my fletched shafts, or just regular field point arrows. They just never got to group, especially the farther out I stepped. Like once I started getting to 50, 60, 70 yards, they just would not group. And I believe that's due to just the spine being too stiff and not allowing it to group. So I decided to step down and get 350 shafts, so a little bit weaker, and then I'll be playing around with some different point weights. I've always had 100 grain point weights on my arrows, so I have some 100s, some 125s, and some 150s that I can mess around with in case this arrow shaft is still too stiff. I could throw on a heavier point and weaken this up a little bit. But really excited for these. The other ones I had, well, I can never really shoot them well with fixed blade broadheads. With mechanical broadheads, they flew perfectly. They grouped out to 100 yards, same point of impact. These arrows are great. A couple other things about these arrows. They're really heavy. I think per inch, let me see if it says it on here. It doesn't say it on here, but I know for the 350 spine arrows, it's about 10 grains per inch. Now these arrows cut at around 27.5 inches, so that's about 270 grains. It's pretty heavy for just a bare shaft arrow. Once you put on the outer system, that's another 50 grains. That'll bring me up to about 320, and 100 grain broadhead bring me up to 420. With the knock, with the fletches, I'm probably at around like a 440, 450 grain arrow. And that's just with their lightest insert system, about 50 grains total. You can go up to, I think, 175 grains for their insert system, which will put you over the moon in terms of heaviness. My previous arrow setup was about 500 grains actually, and that was just keeping things light. So if you're really into having a heavy arrow for, a big game, for mule deer, elk, bears, whatever, these Day 6 arrows are really good. It's gonna help you easily step up your arrow weight. One other thing I really like about these arrows is that they're built very well. And the insert system is built very well. These are tough arrows. I've shot these into I have these targets at my local range. They're the big Reinhardt targets, the big square black blocks, with the metal frame around it to hold the target in. And I've shot these arrows into that metal support at around 50 yards. And my arrow did not explode. Direct hit to the metal. The knock popped out. The point that was in the arrow was flattened. But the actual arrow and the actual insert were perfectly fine. I flexed it after to make sure there was no cracks. I wasn't gonna explode on me the next time I shot, and it was fine. And I've seen other people as well shoot these into, you know, some tough objects, and these arrows really hold up. And that's one thing I really like about these arrows. Should you have a mistake, should you shoot the wrong not the wrong target, but you know, there's accidents happen where maybe you hit something that's a rock or a piece of metal or a tree stump, whatever. That these will hold up pretty well, that you can kind of rest easy knowing that, you know, if you shoot this into some other kind of harder material, there's a decent chance that your $20 arrow won't blow up on you. So yeah, these are really good arrows. They're really tough. I love the weight of them. Makes it really easy to get to that 450, 500. If you're into having super heavy 600 grain arrows, this is a really good arrow to use. So as you can see, I just pulled these out the box. So it's just the arrows and the insert system. So I'm gonna get these ready. I'm gonna show you how to put in the insert system into the arrows. It's a pretty simple process. If you ever worked with insert systems, it's pretty much you're just mixing an epoxy together and putting it into your shaft. But I'll show you how it's done in case you're unsure of how to install these yourself. If you're unsure, you can always bring it to your local archery shop and have them install it. They should know how, but it's pretty easy. So I'll show you how to do that now.
All right, editing Michael here. So apparently the piece of video I did where I was installing the insert system into the arrows, it got deleted somehow, or it never made it from my GoPro to my storage app. So I don't have that footage anymore to show myself physically installing the insert system. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly just talk you through it in case you have the insert system in front of you and you're wondering how to put it on. I'll talk you through it. It's not ideal, but here we go. So basically with the insert system, you're going to get all your inserts, the actual insert and then the collar that goes with it. So it's two pieces. And then you're going to get as well the epoxy that comes with it. Now the epoxy comes in two parts. It comes with a hardener and it comes with a resin. What you want to do is get maybe like a little piece of cardboard where you can put the epoxy on, so you don't make a mess. And get a little piece of cardboard and you're going to rip open the hardener, you're going to rip open the resin. You're going to mix them, you're going to pour them onto the cardboard and mix it together until it has like a milky white color to it. Once you have it mixed, you're ready to start putting your inserts into your arrows. One quick thing before you start this, make sure you take out the nocks from all of your arrows. If you don't, it can create a back pressure situation which will cause your inserts to not seat properly. So just before you start, make sure you take all your nocks out and leave them out until the epoxy and the insert is hardened. Now that you have your nocks out, you have your epoxy mix, what you're going to want to do is separate the system from, make sure the insert and the outsert are separate. You're going to take a little bit of epoxy and you're going to coat the insert system. Give it a nice good coat. Make sure you don't coat the threadings on it, but just coat everything else. Once it's all nice and epoxied up, you're going to take the collar, slide it onto the insert system and screw it in. It screws in clockwise. Make sure you do that. So screw it in, and that way you can make sure the insert and the outsert systems are one unit screwed in. Once your insert's epoxied up, once you have the collar screwed in onto the insert, it's as easy as putting that all into the tip of your arrow. Put it in. As you put it in, you want to twist the insert downward with down pressure into the arrow clockwise, always clockwise. Just do that and just that way you can make sure that the collar doesn't separate from the insert, and also it helps to eliminate any air that might get in between your epoxy, your insert, and the arrow shaft. So just with downward pressure, screw it in, and then just do a little bit, like 2-3 screws. And once it's there, just look at it and make sure it's seating properly, it's not rising up for any reason. And once you have that, once it's sitting, you're good. You can go put it in your closet and make sure you keep it tip side up, and that's it. The system's really easy to put together. It might be a little bit intimidating if it's your first time ever putting in insert systems. I know for myself, the first time I did it, I was a little intimidated, but it's a fairly simple process. Yeah, unfortunately I don't have the video to show you me putting all this together, but it's simple. You should be able to figure it out. Hopefully when I get my next order of arrows in, I can refilm all that and show you physically how I put all the insert system together and into the arrow. So see you all in the next video.